celebration at the band shell of Center for Spiritual Living Kamloops. How exciting is that? And please join us in singing our customary song, We Come Together.
We come together in this moment, we bind our hearts and minds, for we all form a tapestry, woven from one life, one creation, undivided, all unique expressions of God. We come together now in one accord.
And so we know that as we come together, there is only one, and that one is God, that one is divine intelligence, that one is the sun and the light and the divine energy that infuses itself in, through, and as each one of us. And we celebrate that, knowing we celebrate this coming together right here, right now in Kamloops, Riverside Park, Band Shell. Welcome.
We come together in this moment, we bind our hearts and minds, for we all form a tapestry, woven from one life, one creation, undivided, all unique expressions of God. We come together now in one accord. We come together in this moment, we bind our hearts and minds, for we all form a tapestry, woven from one life, one creation, undivided, all unique expressions of God. We come together now in one accord. We come together now in one accord.
And so we move to our celebrated beginning, in which we honor all paths to God. And we have...
You're good.
Darcy, are you doing this?
No.
Oh. Who's doing the honoring all paths? Do we have anybody? Okay, here we come. Do we have the reading piece here?
Yeah.
Good morning. First, before we do the ceremony, I would just like to thank the Shuswap people and of Kamloops for allowing us to have our service here this morning. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. As Linda lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all Indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles.
Thank you, Sheila and Linda. We have another song now. We'd invite you, if it works for you, to all stand and sing, and this is Stayed on Spirit.
Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Walking and talking with my mind stayed on spirit. Walking and talking with my mind stayed on spirit. I'm walking and talking with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Singing, dancing with my mind stayed on spirit. Singing, dancing with my mind stayed on spirit. Singing, dancing with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. This morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah,
And that's great. And that's great.
Sorry.
I thought they were calling on me to do my imitation. We're all in trouble if that happens. But I will invite you to have another brief song here, in which I noticed a couple of children here. Now, we're not going to have our usual Cosmic Kids through the summer, but let's just remember them by doing a verse or two of This Little Light of Mine. Here we go.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Okay, and our reading today, and just taking a quick look at it, and it is really a deep one here today. It's from page 128 of the Science of Mind textbook. And it says, this is Ernest Holmes, if we think of ourselves as being separated from the universe, we shall be limited by this thought, for it is a belief in separation from God which binds and limits. We are bound by nothing except belief. We may change the trend of causation which has been set in motion at any time we decide to do so. Everything comes from intelligence. There is nothing but unity. There is nothing but freedom. There is nothing but completeness. There is nothing but totality. It is like the sunlight of eternal truth bursting through the clouds of obscurity and bathing all life in a celestial glory. It is the absolute with which we are dealing and nothing less. And so it is. And another song called Higher Place.
Time and space, to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place, to a higher place, far beyond this time and space, to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place, higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. No more forward, no more backward, no more spinning around and around. My life is open, ever upward. My feet are leaving the ground. Up to a higher place. Far beyond this time and space. Up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. No more downward, no more darkness, no more wondering the point of it all. My life is destined, all for greatness. My soul is into the call. Up to a higher place. Up, far beyond this time and space. Up to a higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place. Higher place, higher place. I feel my soul rising to a higher place.
Great. Thanks, Hartley. Okay, and so we're now to Reverend Joyanne's talk for the day. And the context is July's theme of the divine invitation, in which we're invited by the divine to share in the bounty, divine bounty, that we can see around us here at Riverside Park and then some. Her talk today is From Paradigm to Paradise. So let's welcome Reverend Joyanne.
All right. Well, good, beautiful morning and welcome to Paradise. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone over here. And you know what's nice for y'all is you get to look at the river. Isn't that nice? And we're going to do a guided meditation at the end, and I think that's fabulous. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah. Great. Yay. So, as Ken, almost Reverend Ken so beautifully said, this whole month is dedicated to the idea of the divine invitation, and this is from the great Sufi master Hafiz. Anyone ever hear of Hafiz? He wrote several books of poems. One of them's called, the other one I have at home, it's called I Heard God Laughing. I Heard God Laughing. Isn't that a great name for a book? For a book of poetry. So he said this quote, which is our anchor for this month. He said this, and I quote, he said, "You're invited to meet the divine, and no one can resist a divine invitation. And that narrows down all of our choices just to two. You can come to the divine dressed for dancing, which is my favorite, or carried on a stretcher to God's ward." Last week I shared my interpretation of these words, and I'll do it just one more time today. So it says you're invited to meet the divine within, and so that means that you are being called to express more of the divine as you. More of the divine as you. You are constantly being invited to a higher, a freer, a more expanded expression of you as the divine. And so life is urging you. We have this unfoldment. We have this evolutionary process. We're all growing, right? Everything grows that lives. And so we are continually unfolding. So you all are invited to this divine invitation. Next, Hafiz says you can't resist the invitation. Either you have the inner urging for more, or you are carried away into God's word on a stretcher. So that means if you are not willing to fully express your divinity, then you have an opportunity, if you so choose, to express your difficulty, your challenges, to kind of live or kind of sometimes get stuck in that place where you don't want to be. It's called struggle. You can come dressed for dancing, which means you're fully ready to engage your life to be the best, next, grandest, greatest version of you, or you can put all of your attention on the past. Who wants to go back to the past? Anyone? Anyone want to sign up for struggle? No, I didn't think so. Me neither. So pretty much we agreed last week that we're going to put on our dancing shoes today. Anyone want to go dancing?
Sure.
All right, we have dancers. So we're going to put on our dance shoes today, and we're going to look at how we can shift our paradigm, shift from where we have been to the greater yet most wonderful place to be. So first, before we do that, I want to give you a definition of a paradigm. Who knows what a paradigm is? It's not a pair of dimes. Do we even have dimes here in Canada? Okay. It's not like a pair of dimes. Or a paradox, also called a paradox. Not one of those. A paradigm, here's the definition. It's a philosophical and theoretical framework of any kind. So another way to say that is a belief system. A belief system is simply a thought we keep on thinking. And sometimes we have really positive ones, and sometimes not so much. And so we can change our belief system, and that's what I'm going to share with you today, how to do that really clearly and easily. New Thought minister Harry Morgan Moses once coined a new term. You've probably never heard this term before. It's new to me also. I found it. I love it. He called these places where we get stuck in the old way, or the old eating patterns, or the old thoughts of lack and limitation. He called this a habitude, not a habit or an attitude, but a habitude. So this is kind of a new word for us, a habitude. And he said this is what a paradigm is, and those habits of thoughts and attitudes that color the way we look at the world. He said in another way, it is kind of like a set of glasses that we put on. These are my new sunglasses. What do you think? Kind of wild? Yay, okay. Yeah. And so a paradigm that we're living that we may not want to continue is kind of like how we see things. It's just like we've had put on a pair of glasses and we're seeing the world through our particular lens. Our particular lens. And so my question is, where'd this all come from? Where'd this all come from? Many times it's not even ours. Many times it's something we took on from who? Our parents, our parental units. And so they handed us our very own set of sunglasses or brightly colored glasses. We put them on, or some of us may have done this. We revolted. Anyone do that? Anyone go against the grain of your parents? Very often, our children will be the opposite of us on purpose. And they'll say, I never want to be like my mother or my father. Possibly. So we all have these kind of sunglasses that we put on, these paradigms that we put on, if you will. Now, this is the interesting thing about paradigms. Sometimes we get really invested and we don't want to let them go. We'll say, I want to change. Anyone ever say, I want to change my life. I want to change my eating. But we're not really willing to make that change. We say we want change, but then when we start to change, we resist it. Anyone ever do that? Just a few of you. But the point is not that that this happens. This is, we know that many of our attitudes come from our parents, but we're going to put that aside. And today we're really going to focus on how we can change these paradigms in our lives, how we can make our life better. And there's a couple of things, though, that paradigms offer to us, and I've actually done this myself. So see if any of this fits for you. The first thing that paradigms do is they affect our logic. You might say this, I don't see how this can happen. You might say, well, this doesn't make any sense. Anyone ever say that? Something happens to you and you say, well, this doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. And so I keep saying, I don't get it, I don't get it, I don't get it. So what happens? I don't get it. So that's one way, and that's my paradigm speaking. Here's another one, a perception. You might say, well, this is just the way it is. This is just the way it is. That's the way I see it, so that's the way it has to be. Anyone do that? No one. Oh, you guys are so good. How about the use of time? This is one that I've done myself. I say I never seem to have enough time to explore this beautiful province. I'm always busy. I'm creating a radio show all the time now. I'm doing sermons. I'm working with people. I work with the staff. I have board meeting this week. I have a planned giving program. So I'm busy, right? Busy. And so that's my paradigm speaking. I don't have to live that way. I want to see BC. I want to see this beautiful place that we live in, the most beautiful place on earth as far as I'm concerned. But I want to go see it. I want to go look at it. So I'm beginning this summer to venture out into the universe upon universe upon universe called Kamloops, venture out of here and see what's in BC. So that's another way, our use of time. If you're saying you never have enough time, that's your paradigm speaking. Last one, the ability to be creative. I have said this to myself for a long time. I'm just not creative. I don't know how to draw, I don't know how to paint, but boy, can I dance. Yay! But I don't know how to draw, and I don't know how to paint, and I don't know how to do any of those things. So I've said to myself, you're not creative. So what happens when I have that belief and I put on those glasses and I talk to myself that way? We all talk to ourselves, right? I say I'm not creative. So what happens? Even if I was, I couldn't even show up. It couldn't show up because my belief is so firm in that. So we can change our paradigms. And there's two ways that these happen. The first way that we're invited, and this happens, let's just see if this fits for you. The first way is through an intense emotional experience. You will have an intense emotional experience that changes your life, an event that rocks your world. It could be a diagnosis. It could be a divorce. I knew someone in Seattle that lost $1 million. And, he was in one of my classes having how would you feel if you lost $1 million? Not too happy. So he lost it, and then he realized in the class it was called financial freedom. Imagine that. Class called Financial Freedom, he loses $1 million. Then he realized if I can create it one time, if I can create $1 million as a businessman one time and it's gone, I can create it again. I can do it again and again and again. We live in a limitless universe. There is no limit, none, except what we do by putting on our glasses and having a belief system, also called a BS system. Isn't that a great way to call it? Our belief system is our BS system. We don't have to live that way. So something happens to us that is catastrophic, that changes us. We're not the same. And this happened to me when my son took his life. Not the same. It literally rocked me to the very core of my being. And maybe that's happened to you. Sometimes it's a mother. We're very close to our mother and she passes away. That happened to me too. I think I could name everything and it all happened. And that's okay because it brought me to be who I am. So the second way, this is the one we want to look at today, the way that we can shift our paradigm, we can let it go and create something entirely new in our lives is this way. It's through constant repetition of a new thought supported by a new environment. So there's two parts to that. It's the constant repetition of a new thought, but also followed by a new environment. And since intense emotional experience life changes that rock our world seem to be out of our conscious control, they just kind of happen, so we think. They kind of hit us out of the blue, so we think. What I know to be true is that our soul chooses these things that we aligned and agreed somewhere along the line. Nothing happens to us that doesn't happen through us. So we are part of the equation. So let's just spend a few moments looking at this second way, the constant repetition of a new thought supported by a new environment. I want to read these words directly from our great teacher founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. I want you all to close your eyes and just hear these words. It's a little bit, it's kind of this long paragraph, but it's really, really powerful. I want to see if you can hear these words. There will be an exam after the service. So these are the words of Dr. Ernest Holmes, page 128, Science of Mind. He said, if we think of ourselves as being separated from the universe, you heard that earlier, we shall be limited by this thought, for it is a belief in separation from the divine, from spirit, which binds and limits us. We are bound by nothing but our belief and our perception. And here is the point, said Holmes. Everything we experience, everything we touch, taste, handle, and smell, the environment, our bodies, our conditions, our money, our happiness, our health, are all effects of our thought. It is clear that the infinite and limitless possibilities of that one, that is divine, of which we are a part, depend in our expression upon our own concept. If we are a point of personality in limitless mind, which we are, and if our life must be drawn from this one mind, which it must be, there cannot be anything else. And if there is nothing else, if there is nothing to move except our mind, if there's nothing to change except our mind, and if we are thinking centers in this mind, nothing is going to happen to us that does not happen through us. Whether it is the result of our own erroneous conclusions, or those of our grandfather, or our parents, or our sisters and brothers, or those of the human race. And this is not in any sense fatalistic, for we each may change the trend of causation which has been set in motion, said Holmes. At any time we decide. Everything comes from intelligence. There is nothing but unity. There is nothing but freedom. There is nothing but completeness. There is nothing but wholeness and health. There is nothing but prosperity and abundance and joy and happiness and peace. Such is the power of right thinking, that it cancels and erases everything unlike itself. So if you have a health challenge, you think of yourself as wholeness and well-being, and it erases any erroneous concept you might think. And so when we change our mind, we change our thinking, we change our life. That's our whole teaching. Change your thinking, change your life. So the last thing Ernest Holmes says is that this knowingness, this truth, it answers every question, it solves every problem, it is a solution to every difficulty. It is like the sunlight of eternal truth bursting through the clouds of obscurity and bathing all of life in celestial glory. It is the absolute with which we are dealing and nothing less. So when I read that this week and I researched it, I said, whew, that's really deep. So there, he says, sum that whole thing up, constant repetition of a new thought supported by a new environment. Now there's a wonderful YouTube video that I cannot show you today because we don't have a way to turn the lights down, to turn the sun down so we can look at it. So I'm just going to share, we'll play it next week, but it is a video of a woman. She's a grandmother, she's 75 years old, and she has 4 grandchildren. And she took up salsa dancing 6 years ago. And she's the most amazing 75-year-old salsa dancer. She took up dancing to get past and beyond the death of her husband. See, now that was her husband died, and she was really having a difficult time. And so she decided to change her environment. She had a paradigm shift, and she took up salsa dancing. And so we're going to show this to you next Sunday so you can see this amazing, unstoppable grandmother of 4. So today, I want to challenge any perception that you have about yourself, and I want you to pick one. We're going to take this into kind of a guided meditation, and we're going to release an old paradigm and bring our awareness, bring ourselves into a brand new place, an entirely new paradise. But I want you to pick something. Pick one. Now, a lot of times, I just have to say, a lot of times people will come and see me because I'm also, I work as a counselor as well. And they will bring 20 things. I'll say, so what's going on in your life? And they'll list 20 things that are going on that's not working. 20 things. What happens if you try and work on all 20 at the same moment? What happens? What if I said to you, I'm going to share with you 20 of the most amazing things that will change your life? Part of our brain goes to sleep. How about 100 things? Let me give you 500 things. Too much, right? That's way too much. 20, too many, even 10. Let me give you 10 ways to change your life. Now, to make the world better? No. 10, 20? No. Pick one today, one place in your life. Is it your health? Is it your prosperity? Is it your relationship? Is it your creative ability? Just pick one and kind of bring it to your mind. And we're going to have these, they're called wings, angel wings. And I'm going to have our wonderful artist here. He's going to play the harmonic angel wings, and I'm going to take you into this meditation so you can release this, whatever this is, and we're going to shift it into a place of paradise. So let's all close our eyes now. Why don't you go ahead and start playing? And what we're doing is challenging our personal paradigm, this paradigm that we've been living that we want to shift. And so as you close your eyes, I invite you this morning on this beautiful place of paradise, in this beautiful outdoor place, just allowing yourselves to fully and powerfully and deeply relax. So taking a deep breath all the way into your belly. And I want you to bring to mind this one area that you would like to shift, that you would like to release, that place of being stuck or that place of struggle. and that you want to shift it into a new vision. Kind of a divine aspiration. An invitation that is calling you, that is being offered to you to express more of the divine, to be a fuller, freer, expanded version of yourself. Because it is there for you. It is there. It is in your mind. It might relate to relationships or to career. It might relate to finances, to health. But as you pick one right now, just bring that into your awareness. The one area that you would like to release and look at differently, to challenge yourself in how you express that. And because you're not quite there yet, because you haven't achieved that goal yet, that means there is something standing in the way. So what we are going to do is we're going to look at where we are right now in relationship to the bigger possibility, the bigger vision, but not with unhappiness or this isn't good enough attitude. We're not going to do that at all, because right now is a magical, beautiful, precious moment. And there is a gift in this moment for you. There is an understanding. There is an awareness. There is an awakening in this moment. And that is what we are going to tap into now. So please again, take in another deep breath. A deep breath down into your belly. Because when you deeply breathe into your belly, you actually open up psychologically to a greater idea. It also calms your nerves. And it really does support your expanded awareness when you deeply breathe. So let's do that again. A nice deep breath. And so now, looking at your current situation as it relates to your expanded vision, not in discomfort or unhappiness, but with a question. With a question. Be inquisitive. And so taking in a nice deep breath, you're going to ask yourself this question. You say to yourself, I wonder what paradigm my current situation is here to show me. I wonder what paradigm my current situation is here to teach me. And so take in another deep breath and asking yourself, I wonder what gift of expanded awareness this current experience I am having that I would like to shift. What gift is it giving me? What gift? And just allow yourself, just for a few moments, to be in that question. I wonder what gift of expanded awareness that this challenge or this thing that I don't want is teaching me. What is it teaching me? And I invite you to take this inquisitive attitude out into your next 3 days. And for the next 3 days, consciously be aware of your vision versus your current situation. Staying in gratitude for all of the gifts that you have right now in your life and the blessings that are yours right now. To just spend the next 3 days in inquiry, asking what gift of expanded awareness is this challenge offering to me? What habits of thought, what framework of thinking, what attitude do I have that has kept it in place? And so for the next 3 days, just simply be available for this diving experience, diving deeply into the inner realms of awareness. And they will come, answers will come. I know they will. I know they will because you are willing for them to show up. You are willing to expand and break out of the paradigm that is holding you back so that you can align in vibration and consciousness with a higher idea. I know that you will receive answers because I'm going to speak my word right now in knowingness and affirm with you that answers to these ponderings show up for you so the higher and divine ideas can come. And that is what we then spend the rest of our lives in, an expanded idea about who we are, about who we came here to be, and about the gifts that we are here to bring it. And so I know that these words that I have spoken are already now an accomplished fact. And I simply now say thank you. Thank you, Infinite Spirit. Thank you, Life. I am grateful that it is now done and that we move to a higher place. Like the song said, we move up to a higher place in consciousness, in body, in mind, in health, in happiness, in wealth, in love, in creativity, in every way possible. We move to a higher place. We release limiting paradigms. And then we, having released that limiting paradigm, we literally live in paradise. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Life. Thank you, God. Thank you, Infinite Spirit. And we send this out into nature, into the divine, into the law of mind, knowing it is done. It is complete. It is perfect. And so with that in mind, in gratitude, in joyous anticipation of releasing all that was, so we can literally be all the next greatest, grandest version of us yet to be. In gratitude, we just agree as we say together, and so it is.